with Natasha Lie from LGAS, clever cash flow tips, particularly at Christmas time. First of all, we're going to do our little bit of information on BWA. But first of all, we always start with an acknowledgement to country. So we acknowledge that we are meeting on sacred and sovereign Indigenous land that has been lived, danced and celebrated on for 120,000 continuous years. We pay our respects to all Indigenous elders, past, present and emerging, and we celebrate our Indigenous sisters in business. I'm Donna Vincent, Head of Finance and Accounts of BWA. I'm also the founder and owner of Solo Accounts. Solo Accounts is a bookkeeping software particularly designed for Australian sole traders. So where accounting products, and I will mention the opposition, Xero, MYOB and those guys, are far too complex and sophisticated for your business. Solo Accounts is just a really simple solution. We also like to think of ourselves as bookkeeping coaches because we're happy to help out with any questions that you have along the way. So we encourage our users to give us a call and ask us as many questions as they like. No question is too silly as far as we're concerned. A little bit about BWA. Our vision is where everyone is valued and can contribute to the greater good. We demonstrate a new one as the #1 national collective community in Australia with a focus on women in business. Our shared mission is to help others achieve their goals and dreams, building a network of influence and creating opportunities to improve the visibility of business women in Australia. Our collective is made up of all sorts of business women. They may be owners, directors, managers, professionals, women on boards, leaders, and also emerging leaders. The 5 areas of development that we do concentrate on: leadership, business improvement, personal growth, influence and profile, and connecting. We share our values and we believe that together we achieve more. So we are concentrating on inclusion and diversity, courage and honesty, collaboration, love collaborating, and that's what we're all about today, open-mindedness, a conscious care, and a very positive energy and optimism. And we do have a bit of fun along the way as well. The benefits of belonging to this community are connections that you make, and even if they're not business connections, but friendships, always handy to have while you're sort of taking that journey through your business. We have discounted events for members. You get a directory listing so that people know how to find you. We do a lot of knowledge sharing and masterminding, collaborating. As I said, we love collaborating, or tricky word, and co-creating. And from this, we find that people do get referrals, but that's not our main aim. It's about support and being there for one another. But certainly, people like to deal with people that they know and trust. So a great way for that to happen. One of our collaborations we have at the moment is with Torrens University. And up until the end of December, there's a whole pile of courses that you can do for free if you're a member of BWA. So I encourage you to jump on and take advantage of those while they're available to everybody. And part of our collaboration with Torrens University is to have a scholarship provided to a BWA member free. So we went through this process in around about August, and we did give away a scholarship, and we had quite a few people apply, and we are doing it all again. Torrens University are providing us with another fully paid scholarship. The expressions of interest are open now, and it will be for a course next year. So we encourage you to jump online and read the application process and tell as many people as you know about it. We'd love to see you apply. BWA are big at connecting on social media. There are all our hashtags there. And if you're a member, there are several groups within these that you can join. we can't do what we do without the support of our partners. Catco Enterprises also look after our digital needs for BWA. Solo Accounts is my business. Torrens University, who I've mentioned. Hawkins Marketing is Lynn Hawkins' business, and she is, she's the big boss at BWA. She'd hate me calling her that, but she is. But she's in the marketing field, and Hawkins Marketing is her business. And Jessica Schubert, Intact Teams. I've just been, before we came onto the webinar, I was just telling the people about a lovely course I've just done with Jessica about leadership, and it was fabulous. And of course, right down in that very special corner in the bottom is LG Accounting Solution, who we're with today. If you'd like to become a member, you can jump onto the website and grab some more information. And if you need to have a chat and want to find out more, please contact Lynn Hawkins, our National Director. She's just full of information and would love to have a chat with you. We have got some more events being squeezed into December. We were just saying what a busy time it is. Later today, we have an online speaker series between, it's a panel event, BWA and Torrens University. A really interesting panel, so please jump on if you've got time later today. Rockingham is our new chapter, so they're doing a networking event tomorrow afternoon and brainstorming what sort of events they'd like to have next year. Bunbury Christmas Party, of which I'll be taking a road trip and going to Friday week. So that's a great one if you're in the Christmas mood. Next year in February, we are doing a product roadshow, we're calling it, of a +9 program. It's part of the H Factor business. And we are just going to do, it's an information night, but there'll be more about that on our website. I'm pushing this one because I saw a demonstration of H Factor last year and I was so impressed with it. I became an implementer of the program. So please take a look at that. And if you want to come along to that demonstration, we'd love to see you. So on to why we're here today. Clever Christmas cash flow tips. Now, I must tell you, I put on my gold sparkly top, especially today, to look a little bit Christmassy. And I am now going to hand over to Natasha Lie, or Tash. Always gives a great presentation full of helpful information and not too over the top of people's heads if they're not a numbers person. So thanks, Tash. I will...
Awesome.
Now I have to then. Now here we go. We get the tricky bits where I have to hand over screen. So let's go. New share, do we? Never too professional on these things here. So stop share, and
right.
You've got it. That wasn't as painful as I thought it was going to be.
Well, thank you for that lovely introduction, Donna. And it's always a pleasure to be a part of the BWA network and presenting to the lovely network that we're a part of. So today we're talking about clever cash flow tips in time for Christmas. So yeah, very timely reminder and a very important topic to look at in the lead up to Christmas. So now I'm not going to... sorry, I need to press spacebar a little bit harder. So first of all, just a little bit about Elgas. So thank you to Cadell for dressing our logo in its Christmas dress. So we're also getting in the Christmas spirit, but we are an accounting firm based in Innaloo that works to support small and medium business owners with their business accounting and consulting needs. Our clients typically range from simple business accounting to next level support, advice and mentorship. And it's something that I am really proud to be a part of. So I've been with LG Accounting Solutions for 11 years yesterday. So I had my anniversary yesterday, which was really lovely. And I really have enjoyed my time working with LG Accounting Solutions and still do. I love working with our clients to help them grow and improve their businesses. And it's something that's really close to my heart. And a big part of that is helping clients with cash flow, because without cash, businesses don't do too well. So before we get started, I would like to do a little quiz. So if everyone could please go to the website menti.com and enter in the code that's on your screen there. We would like to get your opinion on the question that's on the quiz. So this is where it gets a little bit more technical, because I've got to actually share my screen in a different slide.
And I'm afraid if I do that, I'll just cut us off all completely. So I'm a little bit afraid to do it. Hang on, I've got a phone. Beauty. Let's do it.
So if the code's now on the top of the screen, so if you can go to the website on your phone, if you don't want to do it on your computer, and enter in the code, it will then take you to a little quiz. So what we would like to gauge from you, all that have joined us, is what do you think is the most common cause of small business failure? So there is obviously multiple reasons and why businesses fail, but some things are obviously not relevant. My husband helped me put this little quiz together, and he thought a bear attack could be something that is relevant. Have you managed to get in, Donna?
I have. And I want to know why it doesn't say you don't have the right bookkeeping software. That would be the question. That's the question I'd want on there.
I talk about that actually a little bit later on. So you've got that one already.
Yeah, I'm just going with my one choice.
Yep, no problems there. But as everyone has probably guessed, the most common cause of small business failure is actually poor cash flow management, which is the reason why we are here today to talk about the small business failure. So Bancorp in the US did a survey of a number of its clients, and what it came back with was that poor cash flow management counted for 82% of why small businesses fail. Sometimes small businesses fail for a number or a variety of different reasons, but these were the most common ones. So we can see that not recognizing when you need help is quite a leading cause. Being overly optimistic about sales, not getting your pricing right, lack of a well-developed business plan, starting out with too little money, all can contribute to why a small business can fail. In Australia, obviously, a bear attack is very unlikely to cause a small business to fail. So what a lot of people don't realise is that a profitable business can be insolvent. And a lot of people don't realise that. So for those of you that don't know, insolvency is where a person or business cannot pay its debt when they fall due. So that is different to having cash in the bank. So if you have cash in the bank, you have a solvent business. If you have a lack of cash or lack of cash flow, your business can become insolvent, which is not a good thing. So what we want to make sure is that businesses are profitable and also have the cash coming in the bank. So we're going to start with looking at what cash flow is. So put very, very simply, cash flow is the net cash in and out of your business. It is what you see in your business bank account. But what we often see is people confusing profit with cash flow. So I've got a little table on this slide that sort of gives some common examples of what can be considered profit, but won't necessarily affect cash flow, and vice versa. So there's a few little technical accounting things, which means this isn't always 100% correct, especially when accounting rules change with the instant asset write-off. But in very broad terms, this table is correct. So When you issue an invoice, if you're recording on the cash basis, and I'm talking a bit technical, so sorry, but if you issue an invoice, you generally don't have an effect on cash flow because you've issued the invoice and not received the money for it. So when you receive an invoice for payment, that is when it affects your profit, but it won't affect your cash flow until you actually pay that invoice. A capital purchase doesn't affect your profit because it's a balance sheet item and it just goes onto your balance sheet as an asset of the company. At the moment, with the instant asset write-off rules the way they are, that doesn't hold true at the moment, but when that all comes back to normal, that will disappear and be true. When you pay income tax, that doesn't affect your profit, but it affects your cash flow. When your business receives a loan, that doesn't come into your profit of your business, but affects your cash flow. And the same is if you take money out of your business's drawings or a dividend, that can also, that does affect your cash flow, but doesn't affect your profit. So does that kind of make sense, the difference between cash flow and profit, and how you may have something in profit that doesn't affect your cash flow and vice versa? Yep.
It makes sense. And I think the big point that needs to be made here is that while you've got money in the bank, it may be earmarked for something in the future, particularly with things like taxes. You're not paying them every day, but you're paying them in the future. So important to understand the difference.
Exactly. And that is something that I'm sure, Donna, you work with your clients at Solo Accounts on very strongly, is educating them on the difference between profit and cash flow. So as Richard Branson has said, never take your eyes off cash flow because it's the lifeblood of your business. If you don't have money, it's very hard to survive. So what happens when it all goes wrong? What happens if you don't have cash flow? Firstly, you would struggle to pay your invoices. If you have employees, payroll is difficult. You won't potentially be able to pay yourself a wage or profits out of your business. If you let this go on too long, and we're talking at the extreme end of things, you can eventually lead to bankruptcy and insolvent trading. But when it is all going wrong and you don't have good cash flow, it can really take an emotional toll on you and your team at work. And that's something you really want to try and avoid and manage very well. So what does cash flow mean to your business? So I thought I would just quickly ask why cash flow is important to you. So cash flow is obviously important to keep the business going, but everyone has a little bit of a different take on why cash flow could be, well, is important to you. So Cadell, I'm going to pick on you first as our male participant in the group. Why is cash flow important to you in your business?
One of the reasons could be that you have plans for the next year. So if you actually want to do something in a business, then you obviously need to have cash flow management to be able to execute on it.
Yep, that's a really, really good point. So the being able to plan and have growth, so that's something I talk about in a sec as well in a bit more detail. So yeah, definitely growth can be expensive or paying for plans. Donna, why is cash flow important to you?
Look, I had a really good example of this with a bookkeeping client that I had once. It was they owned several shops, and they had a deal with one of their suppliers that if they paid their bills within 7 days, they got an extra 5% discount off the price. And they bought a massive amount of goods off this company, and this discount was worth something like, $120,000 a year if they took it up on all of their invoices. So having the cash flow to pay their invoices within 7 days meant that they were saving themselves $120,000 a year. So it's one of those hidden things that's not in front of your face, but, really, really important to have cash. And that can also apply when, all of something comes up for sale. If you don't have the money there, the cash there, then, another opportunity lost. So I'd say, opportunity
lost. Yeah, that is a really good one. Opportunity lost is there is generally a sign cash flow can be quite poor. So cash flow is something that a lot of businesses struggle with from time to time, and it really varies why it's important to different people. But without cash, businesses really struggle. So we're just going to quickly look at an example of seasonality. So the graph that we've got on the left-hand side shows what a typical sales line could be. That is a business that's affected by seasonality, where during the end of financial year months, it really struggles. But as you can see from this, the costs remain quite consistent. So what seasonality can mean for your business is that during the time where your sales decrease but your costs remain the same, you have a cash flow hole, I guess you could say, which is what is indicated by the little gap in the middle of the graph, which is where the two lines, where sales dip below cost. So planning for seasonality within your business is a very important aspect of managing cash flow, and something that's quite often overlooked. Another example of when managing cash flow is important is during the growing phase of any business. What a lot of businesses underestimate is how expensive growth can be. And that is because quite often when you are growing in a business, there is a lag between the investment that you're making and the increase in revenue, which is what is indicated by the lovely, pretty graph on the left-hand side here. And what businesses that are in growth mode need to really consider is how do they fund that gap between the investment that they're putting in and the increase in revenue. And that is something that good cash flow management will really help you with. So what are some things that everyone should be doing to manage cash flow? So we have broken down cash flow management into 3 different areas, being processes, relationships, and technology. And if you can get these 3 areas right, or focus on these 3 areas in your business, you're setting your business up for success with cash flow management. So the first area we recommend our clients to look at is processes within their business. And that is looking at invoicing. When do you invoice? Do you invoice at the start of the job? Do you prepay? Do you pre-invoice? Do you invoice a couple of months? Do you sporadically invoice every few months? If you get in the habit of having a process around invoicing and invoicing regularly and consistently, it really helps firm up your cash flow. We have seen clients that have not invoiced regularly and consistently, and their cash flow becomes really lumpy as they're waiting for the lag of issuing an invoice and then collecting the money. The next process that we recommend is after you invoice is actually making sure you have a good debt collection policy. A lot of clients issue the invoice and then hope and pray that the invoices actually get paid within their terms. So having a really good, solid debt collection process is highly recommended to get money into your business quickly. That is having good terms and conditions around your fees and when you expect them to get paid, having guarantees in there so that if the business doesn't pay you can fall back on getting the money from a director of a company. It's having the policy documented and a process in place so you know when you should be doing your debt collection, how often you should be doing it, and actually what letters or process you're going to do to collect your debt. And what we mean by that is having a process where you will email the client the first gentle reminder, maybe a second gentle reminder after that a couple of weeks later or a week later, whatever time frame works for your business. Then it may be followed up with a phone call and then another email. And then each email, the tone of these emails that you're following out in your process would probably get a little bit more stern as they're getting later and later. But it's having that process and having the dedication, the ritual to actually do it regularly so that you actually are getting your money in when you're deserving it. The next point is to have a cash flow budget. Now, this is one of my favorite things to do. I love my budgeting time of the year and budgeting with my clients. And Donna, I can see you're smiling, so I'm guessing you're probably the same. But having a good cash flow budget is very important to a business. It is recommended to have your cash flow budget mapped out month by month, so you have an indication of what income expenses you are expecting to have happen in that month, so that if there is a hole in your cash flow, you can help plan for it, whether you know you can't take an extra profit draw out when you thought you could because next month your sales aren't anticipated to be as high. But it's really good to know where you're going and be prepared for those humps and bumps along the way. It is, as part of this cash flow budget process, we would recommend to schedule clear times and dates to actually take the time to have a look at your cash flow budget, set it, and then review it throughout the year so that you know what you're doing. We would recommend to enter your cash flow budget into your accounting software. And what that means is then you're able to pull your monthly management reports with your budget to actuals, so you can actually see if you've actually hit budget very, very easily. The next process we would look at for managing cash flow success is having a good creditors policy. So that is utilising the full payment terms that you're offered for clients, or as Donna mentioned previously, taking out the discount if you're being offered it to pay your bills early and it's of a significant value to your business. If cash flow is tight, you may be able to go back to your creditors and ask for extended payment terms. But what you need to have a good policy around is how you're actually going to pay your bills, which is why having the money coming in through your invoicing and debt collection, and then a cash flow budget so you can manage the payment of your bills on time as and when they fall due. And then the last point of the process is the reporting and the metrics. So making sure you have your accounts up to date so that you can review them in a timely manner. From an accounting point of view, and when we're doing tax work, we're looking at tax work that is quite often 12 months to 18 to 2 years after the fact. You can't make decisions based on that lag in the data. So you need to have your accounts up to date and you need to be proactive. And you also need to have metrics of your business so you know what the cash drivers are, so you can actually know if something is lagging or something isn't working, that it's a very early indication that you need to fix something. So knowing your accounting software and what you need to do with it, as much as you may not like that part of your business, it is very important to managing cash flow. The next part of managing cash flow is having good relationships with your clients, suppliers, and the bank. And this is so that you can talk to your clients openly and honestly about getting your bills paid on time and having that relationship, whereas you know you've done a good job for your client, you've invoiced them, and they're going to pay in a very timely manner. And that is where having a good relationship with your clients is very important. Having a good relationship with your suppliers is also important, so that if for some reason you ever have that occasional hiccup where you can't pay a bill on time, you know you've built up a lot of good brownie points in the bank beforehand, so that this one little hiccup will be okay. But it's having that open and honest communication with your clients and suppliers is very, very important. And having a good relationship with your bank. So in the event that you actually need to borrow to to plug up a shortfall in cash flow, or just needing cash flow to grow your business, having that good relationship with your bank is really important. And it may not necessarily be a bank per se as the old financial institutions, it could be other forms of investment within your business. And that leads very nicely onto our last one of technology and having the very good accounting systems. So i.e. using solo accounts to actually get your accounting up to date and on top of things, or using some of the other softwares like Mild, Xero, QuickBooks. Whatever is going to suit your business, it is very important to have an electronic accounting system for your business. If a shoebox in this day and age is not a good accounting system. We also recommend to select a software for your business that actually allows you to enter the budget into your software, so you can pull the reports of the budget to actual, so you can see how you're going. That is very important in this day and age. And then utilising technology in your accounting system to save you time. So using the bank feeds function is highly recommended, so you're not actually manually inputting all your transactions into your business. Is there any questions on the 3 areas that we have for managing cash flow for success? Nope.
Can I just throw in one comment there, Tash? I know a lot of people are reluctant to make phone calls for money, So if you're that type of person, then outsource that job. Don't not do it. If you hate ringing people and asking for money, then don't just not do it. Find somebody who doesn't mind doing that job and outsource that if you don't do anything else.
I agree. I totally agree with that.
Yep.
Having a good debt collection policy and a good debt collector on your side working for you is very critical to making sure you get your invoices in and paid.
And, you know, sometimes it's not even about an angry phone call. It's just that somebody's forgotten. You know, a lot of emails, you know, go through your box and you're just too busy. But if somebody rings and says, hey, listen, you haven't paid your invoice, is there a reason why? They'll go, oh, gee, I forgot. I meant to pay that. I'll pay you straight away. So, you know, it doesn't always have to be that horrible experience, because that's all we think, you know, debt collection, you know, we all have that heart attack, when sometimes all it is just a gentle reminder, and the person at the other end of the phone is really embarrassed and is happy to pay the bills. So it's not always a horrible experience.
Exactly. And it's, as much as sending emails as part of your process is very important, emails are very easy to ignore. So that phone call, that little personalized touch in that process can add a lot of value to your business.
Yeah.
So the other point for managing cash flow is also managing tax. So I'm not going to go into managing tax because that is a whole nother presentation in itself. But managing your tax and managing your cash flow kind of go hand in hand. And that is a whole nother presentation that I no doubt will be doing closer to the 30th of June. So how should you be looking at getting your business ready for the Christmas period? So knowing the seasonality impact on your business is very important to managing your cash flow. So a lot of businesses close over the Christmas period. So how much less cash is your business going to intake during the period, during that break? And how is that going to impact on you paying your bills that you have to pay? And if your business is going to close over Christmas, how is that going to impact your cash flow? So planning around your business closure is very important. So having that cash flow budget prepared so you know what your expenses are going to be during that period when you're not going to be collecting any money is very important. Knowing how much cash you need to have in your bank. So knowing, first of all, how much you actually have in your bank and knowing how much you're going to need over the Christmas period is really important. If you need to move on to collecting some more money or invoicing things to make sure you have enough money in the bank is what you would need to do. I would also recommend to have a look through your creditors and having a look at which invoices need to be paid and which ones don't need to be paid before the break, and use the payment of creditors and utilising the payment terms as a cash flow management tool. I'm not meaning put the invoices in the bottom drawer and forget about them. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is just manage the payment terms on your invoices. But the best way to manage cash flow in the lead up to Christmas is focusing on your debtors and spending that extra time in the lead up to Christmas to working on your debtors and getting that debt collection happening so you can get the money in the bank. And you may want to change your payment terms accordingly to the time of the year. It's not something that we recommend to keep changing your payment terms all the time, but it can be something you do in the lead up to Christmas and just shortening when you're expecting that payment to be. And be aware that your clients are probably going to be going away too and won't be there to pay the bills. So planning that debt collection is very important. Getting onto it early is very critical. So there are cash flow tips on getting ready for Christmas. So if you have any questions, please let me know. And we're also offering a complimentary cash flow review for the month of December. So if you want to get in, have your cash flow reviewed, or have any questions or on your processes, procedures, or anything, to please reach out to us. So any questions?
I don't think we've got any, but I've actually got some to throw at you. We're going to do a couple of quick.
I've been worried about this.
5 fun facts. But before I say that, can I just say that this presentation has been music to my ears, because being in the industry, Yeah, I understand the importance of cash flow, and I could never ever stress enough to people, if there's one thing that you can benefit from in your business, is just getting a basic understanding of what cash flow is and using it in your business, because it just, not only does it help you be able to make business decisions based on something, but just knowing that you can confidently spend money, or that money is going to come in the door. And and another thing that just goes with this is just communicating. I mean, if you can't pay something when it's supposed to be paid, talk to a person. Communication is just so important. And if you need something paid a bit sooner, once again, talk to people. Just say, hey, listen, I need to pay something. I want to buy something, a piece of equipment. I need a bit of cash in. I think sometimes these days of electronic communicating, we forget to talk to people.
Yep.
And it can just make such a big difference. But yeah, I'd stress, just like you, that if a good understanding of cash flow can just be the making or breaking of a business. So
it sure can. And also knowing when to ask for help with the cash flow. So getting the right professionals in your corner to help you manage cash flow, if it's not a strength of yours, is something that's really, really important, especially when you're starting out in business or just things aren't going according to plan.
Yeah. We just hope some people it clicks something in their mind and go, great, This is what I'm going to focus on. Right, so I've got some quick questions for you. Okay, do you have a Christmas tradition that you implement each year or do each year?
Are you talking work or personal?
Oh, either. We can go personal or business with these questions.
All right, so I will go business for this one because it kind of relates to personal as well. So our Christmas tradition is we always decorate our office on the 1st of December. We're very traditionalist in that way. So our office, I haven't been in, but I believe it is being decorated nicely up, dressed up for Christmas. And that is a very big part of our Christmas tradition, plus also celebrating Christmas as a team in the lead up to Christmas, because obviously we're all going away. So that is definitely our Christmas traditions.
Yeah, it's nice to have that personal touch amongst your workmates,
Yes.
And not always just be business. Is there a word that you struggle to say or pronounce?
Oh, there is plenty of words I struggle to say. I think it's definitely when I get tired, I struggle to say a lot of things because I get very tongue-tied.
You're not going to give us an example?
It will even be simple things like saying consistently, will be things like that, and efficiently. They're two words that we use quite a lot in our business when we're talking to clients. And when I get tired, the words don't quite say like consistently and efficiently, which I can say when I'm not tired, but when I get tired, they don't quite sound how they should.
Okay, what's your favourite cuisine or food?
My favourite cuisine is pasta. I love pasta, so I would have to say it'd be Italian.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I'm a bit of an Italian fan myself. Do you have a daily non-negotiable?
A daily non-negotiable would be definitely walking my dog, my puppy, because if I don't, I definitely pay the price. She'll destroy something for me. But from a work perspective, my non-negotiable is I need to plan at the end of the day, planning for my next day. So at the end of the day, I always plan ready for my next day.
Well, that goes to show why you're so efficient and good at what you do. Okay, what's the best piece of advice someone's ever given you?
The best piece of advice, I think it would be that it's okay to say no. I have always had the habit of taking on too much because I was afraid to say no and disappoint people, whereas having the confidence to say no, obviously in the right setting, is perfectly okay, and people won't think anything less of me and my role and position of what I do at work. So learning it's okay to say no.
Yeah, great piece of advice, because it can be bring us down. We, take on too much. We either don't do it well or we collapse in a heap, and that doesn't benefit anybody.
Yeah,
so
that's exactly it. So
yeah.
learning that it's okay to say no has been a very life-changing thing in my work environment.
Yeah, great piece of advice. Well, Tash, that's sort of a great way to wind up our session together. Once again, really enjoyed presenting with you. And as I just said, you know, this is just something that I know is really, really important to businesses, you know, and no matter what the size, you know, whether you're a one-man band or a huge organisation, it applies to everybody. So, yeah, great talk, and I hope everybody gets something out of it.